Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I am your host, Nipasa Pradhan, and we have a very informative session lined up for you today. But before we get to that, I have this very important disclaimer I need to read out. And that is by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. Once again, dearest friends, welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And we are thrilled to have viewers joining us, not only on YouTube right now, but also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and maybe also on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining. And I also will take this opportunity to tell you that, you can comment if you have any questions or you want to share about your experiences, especially under this critical topic that we're going to touch up today. And yes, today's topic is getting a green card approved in the new fiscal year, tactics and hacks. And we are going to be joined by our expert guest for this discussion, and it's none other than Attorney Prashanthi Reddy, a renowned immigration attorney from the law offices of Prashanthi Reddy. Well, Prashanthi specializes in business immigration for IT, healthcare, and other industries, as well as family based immigration. And she's based out of New York. Prashanthi and her team make immigration easy for her clients. So, once again, very warm welcome to you, Prashanthi. Thank you so much for joining us today once again.
Thanks, Nipasa. It's a pleasure as always. And I would like to apologize to the viewers for the late start of the program. That is completely my fault due to technical difficulties on my side. So sorry once again.
That's okay. I'm glad you are here and we will get to you. I already see viewers joining us. So thank you so much for joining us, Akbar on Facebook, Madhu on LinkedIn. You keep commenting if you have questions, all right? And yes, today's topic getting a green card approved in the new fiscal year. Prashanthi, what can folks out there expect from us today?
So since we're in September, I mean, in almost in September, in August, and in September we expect that's the last month, right, of this fiscal year 2024. And in October will be the start of the new fiscal year. So it's a new year for green card applications. New numbers get released. So I thought it would be a good idea to talk about, what happened this year with reference to green card filings,
Mhm.
what to expect for the month of September Visa Bulletin, which should be coming out soon. Predictions for September Visa Bulletin. Also, just an overview of what to expect for the coming fiscal year starting in October with reference to, number of green cards available. So highlighting what happened this year will give us a perspective of what to expect next year as well, and also some recommendations for best practices to file a green card, and what kind of categories are expected to be better, or have a better visa number or priority date when compared to some other categories. So I guess we'll discuss all that today, and of course take questions from the audience, which is always our priority.
Absolutely. And we're very excited to have you with us, Prashanthi, and also very excited that you viewers have joined us. And I think without further ado, let's get started by exploring some of the latest updates and strategies, for securing green card in the new fiscal year. And to start off, Prashanthi, if you could talk about the availability of visa numbers in 2024, the September visa bulletin predictions as well. What do you
Yes,
think is
yes, I would
coming up?
love would love to. Yeah. So in general, as I was saying, we should look at the number of visa numbers that were given in 2024. Uh,
Mhm.
for all those viewers out there, just so that you know, the actual number of visa numbers or green card numbers that are available every year are 140,000 mandated by law. And usually there's more than 140,000 because they use the unused numbers from the family based, or the unused numbers from one category trickles down to the other category or moves up to a category. So sometimes it's more than 140,000. So in 2024, the government estimated that 165 green card numbers will be available in the employment based category. And let's just talk about employment based just to keep things simple. And that is, of course, down from 197,000 that was available in 2023. So you see, there were more unused numbers in 2023 and therefore more availability for employment-based cases. It was 197 in 2023. In 2024, it was only 165,000. So the
Oh.
165,000 is still 25,000 higher than the minimum, which is 140, which is available. So that means
True.
25,000 unused family based green card numbers were trickled down into the employment based. And that's why we
Mm.
got that number. So this will
Okay.
give us an idea of what to expect, I guess, for 2025. Maybe more of the same, so around 165, 170,000. I don't expect 190,000 to be available. I think
Mhm.
the reason why almost 200,000 in 2023 and more than that, 220,000, I believe, in 2022 were available is because of the effects of COVID, because consulates were still working at a slower pace and family-based green cards were not being processed at the consulate. So I think the consulates have caught up with reference to their processing. So this is a more likely number, the 165,000, that we will see moving forward as well. So that's something that number is something to keep an eye on. But my
Mhm.
prediction is it will be around that. According to
Okay.
the U.S. Department of State, with reference to the September Visa Bulletin now. According to
Mhm.
the Department of State, there's high demand in the employment second category. So EB2, they're saying there's a high demand and there's a likely of retrogression of EB2 in the worldwide
Mhm.
section. So for everyone other than India and China, there will be a retrogression in the EB2 category. That's what they said in the August Visa Bulletin. So we can expect that that'll happen for the September Visa Bulletin.
Okay.
So also there's a high demand in employment-based category 3, EB3 for employment-based category. And this will necessitate retrogression of, again, the worldwide category, final action date, there'll be a retrogression.
Mhm.
And also there won't be much forward movement, I think, for India and China as well. So predictions. What are our predictions? This is really a guessing game, so you know, don't quote me on it, and just take it as such. So EB1, maybe there will be some forward movement in September by a
Mhm.
few months, is what I'm thinking, because there might still be some numbers available, and they want to use up all the numbers before the end of the fiscal year, which they have to do next month. EB2, I don't see much forward movement, maybe a few weeks if it happens. And EB3, again, not much forward movement, maybe a month a
Mhm.
forward movement or less than that. Hopefully, there won't be any retrogression because there has been, heavy usage of EB3 in the worldwide category. More so is what they're saying. They haven't made any comment for the usage in India for the
Mhm.
Indian nationals. I'm hoping it'll move up by 1 or 2 months, but let's wait and see. So
Okay.
EB1, a few
Sure.
months, EB3, a few months, EB1 more so than EB3, and EB2 maybe just a few weeks because there is heavy use of EB2.
Okay.
So that's my prediction for the September Visa Bulletin. Let's see what happens.
Okay, okay, Prashanti, that's very interesting. But if you could also explain to our viewers, about this 1 week time frame the USCIS sets to link the relevant charge, after the Department of State publishes a visa bulletin.
There is no 1 week time frame. I am saying that the visa number might move forward, the visa priority date might move forward by 1 week or 2 weeks. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, okay. All right, then let's move on now. Thank you, Prashanti, for giving us that. I mean, your point of view of what can we expect. But let's see. Let's hope for the best. What to expect with
Yep.
green card filings in the next fiscal year? The impact of priority dates, etc. As per the cato.org political climate and layoffs. If you could.
Right. That's just the references that we'll use to talk about, what green card filings to expect next year. So let's go
Mhm.
to that as I was talking about when I was mentioning it to you, Nipasa. Cato.org is a good website for they because they've done some research on how many green card pending cases are pending, etc., etc. So anyone out there in the audience that wants to go to the website and look at the numbers, they're welcome to do so.
Mhm.
So as per Cato, the employment-based green cards backlog. So we are talking about a backlog um, with reference to cases that are pending due to unavailability of visa numbers. That's the backlog we're talking about. There's several backlogs, but let's talk about that first. We know that there's a total of 140,000 green cards issued every year. We already discussed that, right? So let's talk about the
Yes.
employment-based catalog backlogs. That is, hold on to your horses. It's 1.8 million cases this year. The backlog.
Oh,
This backlog is mainly consists of immigrants who are waiting to receive their green cards, mainly because of the low green card caps for employment-based cases, right? As we know, more
yes.
than if there's 140,000 green card numbers available, no country can get more than 7% of that number, right?
Yes.
Out of the 1.8 million people waiting, they're all waiting. All of them are waiting because there are no numbers available. And out of that, 1.1 million are Indian nationals waiting because there are no numbers available for them. Because Indian nationals are heavily backlogged because the demand is very high for Indian nationals and
Yes.
they only have the 7%, like all other countries. Fortunately for other countries, their demand is not high, so you see EB2 and EB3 sometimes is current for worldwide, and so EB1 is always current. And so
Mhm.
they don't have that much of a backlog like Indian nationals do. Indian nationals face a severe backlog, as I was saying, 1.81 million of that
Mhm.
1.8 backlog is Indian nationals. And it's predicted that new applicants from India will face a lifetime wait for
True.
to get a green card. And this is a gruesome number, but 400,000 will die before they receive a green card. Um, that's the prediction, and that is the statistics that Cato.org has come up with reference to, the pending backlogs on green cards
Backlog.
because the unavailability of, visa numbers. So unless Congress does something about it, yeah, this will continue to remain, and it's very unfortunate. Also, the backlog, we can expect backlogs, other types of backlogs if there's because of politics, as I was saying. Recently, I mean, in November, recently Kamala Harris was elected as the Democratic nominee for president. And in November, the elections are going to be held. And if Republicans come into power, then we can expect that the backlogs will increase. Different types of backlogs will increase. Things will just get worse. When we're talking about backlogs, the Democratic government has been trying to pass bills to increase the number of green cards, or Eagle Act has been introduced every
Mhm.
year for many years
Yes.
in the Congress. But unfortunately, because the Democrats don't have the majority, and the Republicans will not agree to any passing of any such bill. So if the Republicans come into power and if they control both the House and the Senate, we can expect the more of the same. That is, there will not be any changes in with reference to increase in green card numbers. Also, in addition to backlogs due to green card numbers, there's also backlogs due to USCIS. So USCIS
Okay.
backlogs, they have 171,000 I-140 immigrant visa petitions that are not yet being processed because they are facing backlogs in processing times. We're just talking about processing times now. And 289,000 pending adjustment of status cases right now, which are not being processed simply because of USCIS they're not having the opportunity to process them as yet because they don't have the staff, they don't have the
Okay.
funds. So, with reference to processing times, let's see what will happen if the Republicans come into power. It'll just get worse because they will not give the necessary funds needed. They will not to the USCIS, and USCIS will not have the necessary sources the necessary bodies to, remove the backlog. Right now, USCIS has, under the Democratic administration, has improved backlogs, has received funding, has used that funding to automate their systems, and thereby, reducing backlogs. But still, you see the backlogs are so much, it'll just get worse if,
Yes.
there's no funding available, right?
Right.
So that is something I have to say with reference to what to expect for green cards moving forward. Also, layoffs can play a role with reference to filing
They
of a
have
green
been.
card.
They have been. There have been
Yes,
major layoffs this whole year. I think we've been just hearing and hearing about lots of companies laying off their, especially their work from home um, employees.
yes. So layoffs can cause a delay in perms because when you're filing a labor cert, if they are layoffs and US Department of Labor is aware of this, then they will start sending audits on your perms. The audit,
Mhm.
receiving audit in a perm delays the approval of your labor certification because then they ask for proof that you have not received any applicants. They ask for proof of advertising, etc., etc. So that always
Right.
delays the perm process, but the delay is not that significant compared to the delay with reference to visa number, unavailability, and processing backlogs. So that's something to
Mhm.
keep in mind
Yes,
with reference to next year.
true. And Prashanti, you're talking about the 7% for each country. I'm sure many countries do not even use maybe 7% or not even 5%, but it's hard for, I mean, India and China especially. So what do you have to say
Yes,
about that too?
yeah, absolutely. So while we don't want to take away the numbers that other countries have, we think that it should be a fairer system
Right.
where there maybe my solution to that is that you don't have caps on the number of green cards that can be filed, or the other solution is to increase the caps because there's so much demand, right, on the number of green
Right.
cards that can be
Make
filed,
it
and also
proportionate, basically. Yeah.
you increase the demand, increase the numbers,
Hmm.
or another solution is to not require family members to have a number. So that way, then the numbers are saved. You have double the amount because usually there'll be at least one family member and they use up a number. So if
Yeah.
the family members are not required to have a number, then you'll have double or three times the number of green cards available than they are now. So there are some solutions available. It's a matter of having the political will to look at these solutions and to make changes.
True. True. Thank you, Prashanti, for giving us a sneak peek into what can be expected. And I mean, especially from the upcoming elections, if any of the parties is also being elected, everything is going to be affected, and so will the immigration part as well. Let's move on now to the next question I have for you, Prashanti. If an H-1B worker is unable to find a new job within the grace period, what options do they have for changing their visa status?
If they're not able to find it, then there's a 60 days grace period and they can find another employer within the 60 days period and file a transfer.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. And now let's move on to this next question. What do you recommend regarding the best employment based green card category for Indian nationals, keeping in mind the ones with less delay in processing times in the new fiscal year?
So yeah, so we've discussed the problem with reference to what to expect and the green card backlogs. Now, is there any solution other than, the solution that we're suggesting or everyone is suggesting is obviously not in our hands because
Mhm.
Congress has to act. But is there any solution, for the immigrants who are more affected? The only solution would be to try to file in the categories which have less backlog. But please keep in mind, not everyone will be able to file in those categories. Not everyone qualifies, and that's why there is a less of a backlog in those categories. So EB1, employment-based category one, is a
Mhm.
category where there is a less of a wait always. Sometimes it's current. It has been current in the past. Otherwise, the wait is sometimes a year, sometimes 2 years.
Hmm.
Definitely better to be in an EB1 rather than being in EB2 or EB3 category. For EB1, you have to have either extraordinary ability in the arts, sciences, business, wherever, whichever your career is in, whichever
Yes.
path that you're taking, you have to have extraordinary ability in that path, meaning winning national, international awards. If you're a researcher, then there is EB1 is also available for researchers. And again, it's exceptional ability in research. So you have to show that you've done a lot of research and there have been a lot of citations of your research, that your research is being used for healthcare or for the betterment of the community in the United States.
Hmm.
So research is another category where you can get a green card quicker. You can also get a green card through EB1 multinational executive, which means that if you worked as a multinational executive um, in a company abroad and then they have a qualifying company in the US, then you can be transferred to the US to work as a multinational executive and you can get into EB1
Nice.
that way. So that's another way that you could get it. So EB1 is definitely the way to go. Also, family-based categories. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, if you are a child of a U.S. citizen, if you are a parent of a U.S. citizen, that is also an immediate. There is no wait at all for that category because it's immediate relatives, and there is no cap on the number of cases that can be filed. So there's no wait from the point of view of the green card numbers. So
Okay.
if you are eligible to file a family-based immediate relative category, then you should do so.
Yeah, talking about it. So, what is the ideal green card route to bring spouses and parents to the US in the new fiscal year?
Yes. So the best way to do this is, um, and the only way I would say is to file an I-130 and 485 if the person is in the US. That's the best way to do it if you're a US citizen. And this will allow you to, while your 485 is pending, while your green card is pending, will allow your family member to work by
Hmm.
filing the EAD, employment authorization, will allow them to travel without a visa by filing and getting an advance parole document approved. They can be
Hmm.
paroled into the country. So this is definitely the best way to for your spouse or parent or even child, if you're a US citizen, to get a green card, filing an I-130. If they're outside the country, you'll have to file I-130 consular processing. That takes a little longer because then you have to file the immigrant visa petition. And there is a backlog in just because processing time. And they have to wait outside the country until they're able to actually come in on a green card. So, the Mumbai consulate is backlogged. So that can take a couple of years to get them in that way. But if they're already in the country on an F1 or even on a B2 in some situations, you can
Hmm.
um, convert their B2 into a green card.
Okay. Thank you, Prashanthi. I mean, you're giving us so many examples and suggestions for the different routes to get a green card. And okay, my next question to you would be can immediate relatives travel on B2 and then file for a green card after entering the country? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of this process?
Yes, as I was saying just now, that that is possible. And sometimes it might make sense because, as I said, processing time outside the country, then your spouse will be outside the country for a couple of years before they're able to come in. So one
Yes.
way, and of course, I would caution you about using this route because if you come in on a B2 and immediately file for a green card or even file after 90 days, the USCIS can say that you had wrongful intent of immigrating to the US when you actually came in on a B2, if they're able to prove that.
Hmm.
They can say that you should have, just filed for the green card while you were outside the country rather than coming on a visitor's visa because you had the intention of immigrating when you came in, and you should not have that intent when you come in on a
Yes.
B2. So that's something to keep in mind, but it is possible to do. but something to keep in mind that if that issue does come up, then you'll have to prove to the officer that you had no intent of actually filing an immigrant visa petition when you were traveling on a B2, and you made that intent when you came into the country, and after a while you decided, why not? Hey,
Hmm.
let me file for a green card, you know? So it
Yeah.
might be hard to prove though.
Right. So there's a very small line, but then you have to be careful, I think, friends, and know your intent. If you really want to immigrate, then go for an immigration, I mean, for a visa that is immigrant visa. And if you don't want to, then a non-immigrant visa route would be better for you. Otherwise, I think you would take a lot of time just proving it to the USCIS. All right, Prashanti, thank you so much for that. And yes, there are so many questions from our viewers. I think we should quickly take a few. And the first one would be this one from RK Social. This is on YouTube. Hello, Prashanti. This is RK. What are the timelines now to get the green card after filing AOS? Category India EB1PD November 2016 and AOS filed on uh, 30th of July 2024.
So the processing time with you for a 485, since your priority date is current, for a 485 would be about 12 to 14 months. So a year to a year and a half, I think 12 to 18 months maybe. And again, every case is different. So that's why I'm giving such a wide range. Um, some cases get approved very quickly, and I don't know why or how. But we filed some EB1 cases that got approved in a few months. But would
Oh.
I say that is the general processing time? I wouldn't. You should give it about 12 to 18 months.
Every case is different, and I hope that it'll work best for you and in the earliest possible way, RK. Thank you for your question. Now let's move on to Raghu. This is on Prashanti's channel. This is also on YouTube. Will there be any spillover expected to EB1 India in coming year 2025, October onwards?
Yes, there might be. If there is a spillover, remember the spillover is from the family based cases. It spills over to the employment based cases. Last year, 25,000, there was a 25,000 spillover, which then gets distributed among all the employment based categories. So that'll be, um, the EB1 also will get some benefit from, if there is retrogression. And also, the spillover, that the extra numbers are given to the backlogged categories, right? So the Indian nationals are
Mhm.
backlogged, EB1, Indian nationals are backlogged, and EB1 worldwide is current. It will obviously first go into the backlog categories, which happen to be EB1s for India.
Right, right. Thank you. Thank you, Raghu, for your question. I hope it's pretty clear. And if you have more questions, you can keep commenting. Now let's take up this one on LinkedIn. Roger Louis, what about if I have a green card but it is expired? How can I renew it from Bolivia? And there's a follow up. It expired when I was 11 years old, and now I am 39 years old, just to give you the context. The context. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you are on a green card, you're expected to enter into the US. After you get the green card, you're expected to live in the US. And if you've traveled outside the country, um, and never came back, or whatever the situation, or you never even came into the country, then when you try to use that green card and come into the country now, they might say that you have abandoned residence,
Mm-hmm.
and they might ask you to leave at the port of entry, because they might say that you're no longer a permanent resident because you have not maintained your residence in the US. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
requirement for a permanent residence, that you not stay outside the country for more than a year at any given point of time. And it's been many, many years that you have not been in the country. So they will stop you for sure at the port of entry, and they will basically make a determination that you have given up or forfeited your green card. And you can either ask to continue to be allowed into the country, and then say that you want to go before an immigration judge. And then if you're able to prove to an immigration judge that you have not given up your residence, which is unlikely because you were 11 years old when it first happened, and it's not likely that you've even established residence in the US, and unlikely that you filed a tax return, etc. So again, it depends on a case by case basis, but in your case, looks like you might be out of luck with trying to prove before a judge that you maintained your status or residence. So the best way would be to just file that green card again on whatever basis you did it last time, if you're able to.
All the best, Roger. And I'd say, why not consult an attorney, and why not Prashanthi Reddy herself? Her details are scrolling on the screen. Thank you. And moving on, Prashanthi, there is one more question. This is something we received on WhatsApp. My mom's green card application I-130 was approved. She is currently in India. So I filed an I-824 to forward the approval to the NVC for processing at the correct consulate in India for her biometrics appointment. Despite multiple follow up requests, I haven't received any updates from the USCIS. The timeline filed is 6th of December 23. Online case status shows received, but I did not get a mail confirmation. Requested status via email was directed to reach out to the lockbox email, but received no response. What steps can I take to expedite this process and get a response from the USCIS?
Now, there's several questions that we need to ask here to get a better answer. Is the I-130 based? Obviously, you're a US citizen, otherwise you couldn't have filed for your mom, so that's established. If you filed I-130 consular processing, was the I-130 approved? Um, and if it was approved, then the visa number is available. So NVC should be reaching out to you to fill out the immigrant visa petition. They should be sending you an email to fill out the immigrant
Mhm.
visa petition and to pay the proper fees, etc. So it could be that your I-130 is not yet approved. Oh, approved, it says. Green card I-130 was approved and NVC has not contacted them so far. My suggestion is to reach out to, there should be an email or a number on the I-130 approval. I would suggest reach out to that. That's a USCIS number, reach out to them. If the I-130 was filed consular processing to start off with, why did you file an I-824? I'm just trying to figure out. So maybe the I-130 was not filed consular processing, but was filed while she was in the country, and now he's converting it to consular processing. Then if you've already filed the I-824, then did you get a receipt of the I-824? So you need to follow up on the I-824 request, which is simple. You can follow up with USCIS. If you've received a
Yes.
receipt, then call USCIS or chat with them, with Emma, and comment if you have any further questions. So it looks like you
Okay.
need to follow up on the I-824 application.
Okay. I really hope this person is able to figure out and probably get a response from the USCIS, because the status still shows received. So there should be an update. All the
Yeah,
best.
I-824,
Thank you for the question. Yes.
I-824 applications can take time. So maybe it's
Okay.
just pending. As long as it shows pending on the website, when you go to the USCIS case status website, you should be fine. Just wait for a response. If it's taking a long period of time, you can call customer service as well to find out what's happening.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prashanthi, for taking that up and for your suggestions as well. Let's move on to a few more questions from the audience. And now the next one, let's take this one. Ishwar, what are the most critical factors I should consider when strategizing a green card application for the new fiscal year? And how can I optimize my petition for success?
Well, it is a very broad based question, but I will answer it, and it won't be a complete answer because it'll take me a long time to answer this completely. Maybe several episodes, but what should you strategize? You should make sure you file in the correct category, which will give you the best possible, fastest possible chance of success. Meaning, if you
Mhm.
qualify EB1, do EB1. If not EB2, otherwise EB3. Make sure you find a proper attorney to file your case properly, right? You don't want it to get denied, then there's no purpose in filing it. They will follow the processes that are required, or have your employer find a competent attorney to do so. They have to start off with the labor cert process if you're doing it in EB2 or EB3. Or and so they have to do it properly, and they have to file the I-140 properly, meaning signed, fill out the forms properly, follow all the requirements, send it to the right USCIS office, send the correct amount in the checks for the fees, and generally know what the criteria is to file so that they don't make a mistake when filing. So,
Okay.
everything considered, I think using an attorney would, you know, to a great extent help you. Also, when you're
Yeah.
deciding on your employer, when you're deciding on a job, you should ask them right in the beginning whether they're going to file a green card for you. Otherwise, you end up joining them and they may delay filing the green card, or they may not have experience filing it. So they may not want to file it. So that's obviously, the first question that you ask when you take up a job, whether they're willing to file the green card for you. So I think those are some of the pointers that can help.
But Prashanti, that means there is no other proper way or a tip to really tweak or make the process a little fast, right? Apart from really following everything, the rules
That you need to
basically,
do.
and
Correct, correct.
yeah.
There's premium processing for I-140 cases. You can choose to file in premium by paying the extra amount of money, and that will help you speed up at least one part of the green card
Hmm.
application. There's no premium processing for the labor cert or for the 485. So, you just have to follow the rules and do it properly so that there's no further delay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ishwar, for your question. I can see another, but I think let's take this one from Devakar first. I am an Indian doctor without license to practice in USA. I recently did my MBBS. Is there any way I can qualify for EB3 or EB2? Currently, I'm in USA. Your suggestions will be appreciated.
Yes, you can, but not as a doctor. Perhaps in another position that requires a bachelor's degree in medicine, and you can show if that's equivalent to, a life sciences degree or a biology degree in the US. And if you have an employer that's willing to file for you, yes, you can. But there is no immediate benefit of filing an EB2 or EB3 without first filing a non-immigrant petition that will allow you to stay in the US, right? Because EB2 or an EB3 doesn't allow you to remain in the US because the visa number is not available for both categories.
Right. Thank you, Devakar, for your question, and thank you, Prashanti, for taking that up. Now, I think we'll move on to the last question for the day, and this is also from Ishwar. Let's take up the second one. This is what are some innovate what are some innovative tactics or hacks to expedite green card processing, such as using premium? This is yeah, or concurrent filing. And when would you recommend I employ these strategies?
I think we
Please,
already
yes,
discussed this, to a great extent
yes.
in the beginning of the show. And
Maybe
when do
just
you
the
record?
second part of the question.
Yeah,
When do
when
you
do you
recommend I employ?
premium processing? A lot of people worry about premium processing. They think that if they file under premium processing, the case will get denied, or that there'll be
Mhm.
more scrutiny. I don't think that is so. It's just that the premium processing team is a group of officers that are very experienced in their job. So they will look at it, and if you qualify, they will approve it. It's not that they're going to send RFE needlessly. I don't think they do that just to buy time.
Mhm.
So I would, if you have the money to do it, and if you have the requirement for speed, then you would do it.
Mm. Okay. All the best, Ishwar. I hope you figure out. But yes, I mean, if you have more money, then why not speed up the process as much as you can? All the
Right.
best. Let's take this last one from Venkata. This is when I was about 15 years old, I was hospitalized for depression. But it was Only a 72-hour hold. I was not a danger to myself or anyone, and they determined I was perfectly fine, so they let me go home. I took antidepressants for about 2 months, but the medication was stopped because I did not need it. Can I get denied the green card because of this?
No, that shouldn't be a reason for denial. Your past medical history, and a brief incident should not be shouldn't be a cause for concern.
All right. Plus, you already were determined that you're perfectly fine and they let you go home. So I'm sure you are perfectly fine. Thank you, Venkata, for your question and also all the very best for your green card. Hope you make it. Thank you so much, Prashanti. I think we will have to wind up the show. And though we couldn't start on the dot, but I'm sure we really covered up what we were here for today, and that is uh, well, getting a green card approved in the new fiscal year, tactics and hacks. Thank you so much. And yes, Prashanti, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just saying that there's one last question from Ravi Kumar. Should we take that before we leave?
Okay, sure, we can. I am currently living in Europe and I plan to move to USA. My origin is India. I have a B1, B2 visa. So how long the process will take for EB3 skilled and unskilled category?
Yeah, I mean, so as I was saying, you shouldn't, unfortunately for Indian nationals, unlike worldwide, where they can plan on getting the green card directly and they don't have to think about the H1 and then coming on a H1 and then filing for a green card, because the visa numbers are available, especially for EB1 and EB2 worldwide. But for Indian nationals, Ravi, like you are, you will not be able to get your green card for the next 20 plus years or God knows how many years. So filing a green card for EB3 is not useful.
Mhm,
It is better way is to file for a non-immigrant petition, come here, and then start your life and then file for the green card because you need to keep extending your H1 if you're filing for a H1, and that's a way of getting unlimited extensions on H1. So
mhm.
that is why a lot of people file green cards, and also to keep the window, to keep your place in line. That's another reason why they file. But I think, should first focus on getting to the US if you want to migrate, because it's better to migrate on a non-immigrant petition rather than on a green card. And then, getting a place in the line for your green card will follow after you come into the US. I think that's a better strategy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prashanti. And I'm sure that was very helpful, Ravi. What do you have to say? If you have any questions, further questions, you can keep commenting, even if you are watching this after the stream has ended, because we can definitely forward these questions to our experts and even Attorney Prashanti herself. So thank you so much. And I think with this, we have covered all the questions from our audience as well. Thank you so much, you lovely audience, for those questions, and you've made this session an even more interesting one. And Prashanti, maybe you could give us an end note on the topic we have today. Getting a green card approved in this new fiscal year, so that folks out there have something to hold on to. Maybe.
So, yeah, as I was just to summarize what we were talking about,
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about um, what happened this year with reference to green cards. We said that 165,000 green cards were available for employment-based category. So they increased that uh, the fallover from the family-based cases was 25,000. So they increased that to 165 from the baseline, which is 140. We have to wait and see what the unused numbers will be for worldwide categories, for all categories for next year, to see what that number will be. That really has an impact. That number of 165 or 140, whatever it is, has an impact on the priority dates. Because if there are more numbers
Okay.
available, the priority dates will move faster for all the categories. So we have to really see what those numbers
True.
look like for the following fiscal year, and that will give us an idea as to what to expect with reference to priority dates as well. But in general, I think EB1 will be may not be current. I don't know. It's difficult to say for Indian nationals, but will be close to current. And EB2 and EB3 will not be current unless something happens. Like some law is passed or something happens where the consulates shut down, which we don't want that to happen because we don't want another epidemic. But for some reason, if the great numbers are not being used by the consulates, then those numbers will actually flood down to the categories for India. And that's what happened during COVID. But other than that, we can, I think, expect more of the same, unless again there's some kind of legislation that happens. And I'm hoping that something like that will happen and there will be more availability of numbers.
Me too. And I'm sure that the election is definitely going to make a big impact. So let's look out for that as well. That is happening this November. Of course, there is some more time, and but until then, of course, folks out there, I would say let's stay hopeful. And since every case is different, you may also want to discuss it personally with the attorneys. So why not contact Attorney Prashanthi Reddy directly? Her number is 212-354-1010. It's there on the screen. You can note it down. You can even call her on the number. I'm sorry, email her prashanthi@reddyesq.com, and definitely go visit their website, reddyesq.com. Thank you so much, Prashanthi, for doing this today. It was really lovely having you here, and it was indeed a very interesting and very informative session. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nipasa, and look forward to doing another show next Wednesday.
Me too, me too. Yes, folks, Prashanthi is very regular with us. We try and meet every Wednesday at 12. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. Hit the bell icon so that whenever we have discussions like this, you are updated. And thank you, Prashanthi. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you.
So, folks, once again, thank you so much. And you can even contact me. My number is 408-335-6444, and my email address is nipa@higheritpeople.com. And to get to know more about us, definitely visit us at www.higheritpeople.com. If you're looking for project placements, H4 EADs, green cards, anything related to immigration, feel free to contact me, and also check us out. Once again, I would say don't forget to subscribe because we have another interesting webinar coming up, which is going to happen at 2 p.m. EDT, less than an hour left. So stay tuned and watch our space. Thank you so much for today. Have a great day ahead. See you.
Consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us in the number 408-335-6444 or mail us at nipa@higheritpeople.com or visit our website www.higheritpeople.com.